Hello. So, this is going to be something a little bit different. I'm going to let the intro play real quick here. Kind of like the intro here, reminds me of Avalon quite a bit. This is this old DOS game that I grew up with. So yeah, this is the pit. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with it, Sword of the Stars was a 4X game, a 4X strategy game. Basically, it was about expanding to all kinds of different places, and it had these interesting mechanics in terms of it had all these different races, all these different ships. So like all these ships even had locational damage and stuff. It was crazy detailed. So personally, I've never been a huge fan of 4X games, but that was pretty darn fun. So it's like that one is pretty awesome as it is, and for whatever reason, as a sort of a like side game here, they made the pit, which is pretty much they take all the same races and organizations and all that, and make it into a roguelike. So like it said in the intro there. The whole idea is they just have, all kinds of veterans and experts and things like that just kind of hanging out in this place. So there's a handful of them that make it to this pit. And yeah, this is generally how it looks. A pretty standard kind of roguelike. You got your grids all over the place. You have a certain amount up here. I think it shows my mouse. Yeah, it does. Normally the mouse actually changes to a cursor for this, but if you exit out, for whatever reason it doesn't. Quirks of recording software. Anyway, so it shows your remaining movements for the turn up here that can be changed by different things. Your health, food, and your psi down here. And psi is functionally like friggin' magic in this. You have 5 per tree that you can do, ranging from stuff like just being able to detect stuff around you, to just flat out mind control or duplicating things. Actually, the manifestation and redaction, those two, if you can get them most of the way up, they'll pretty much serve all your needs more or less. Generally, on most classes, I try to at least get telekinetic fist for telekinesis. For healing, I try to get up to metabolic control, and then anything left over goes into manifestation. Typically, I tend to go more for techie stuff, though. Never really been a fan of, well, hell, magic classes or psionic classes in this case, or any of that. That's just personal preference. Psionic stuff is pretty friggin' overpowered in this. But yeah, basically you just have your inventory, you combine all kinds of different stuff to get different stuff, you have all kinds of different tools, like these little pips here, or how many uses those tools have. Some like this one, recharge. Some like this one have a fixed number of charges. Like, let's say essentially I went and used the wrench along with this toolkit to repair this thing partially. Repair efficiency is a whole other system, just kind of based on how much is left. You get rid of some of your maximum efficiency, or durability. But yeah, so basically what I've wanted to start doing here is typically once a week I try to do a seriously run of this. Now, to explain the different settings on this, easy is what would be considered normal to hard on a lot of other games. Normal is definitely up there in terms of difficulty. Like, I would say if it's somebody's first time through on easy, they have maybe a 30-40% shot. Like, if they're figuring out the mechanics, they might be able to make it through the game. You get extra drops, you take less damage, you heal faster, all that. Normal, everything's pretty normal. There aren't a huge amount of enemies. Hard, you start taking extra damage, there are more enemies around. Insane, there's a lot more, and then seriously is just plain not meant to be beaten. So there's a few classes that have managed to do this without using what's known as the blue room strategy, which is something I'll explain later, but long story short, you can just kind of bank up stuff. So you can sort of go, you do a bunch of runs, like let's say level 5, you've already found the room on level 5, so you just repeatedly go with a bunch of different characters, just dump whatever they've gotten, dump all their experience, dump all their items, let them get killed off by something, and then do another run. But yeah, you can bank stuff up, that's how I did a level 100 run of this. But now, my favorite character, just to kind of go through all of these slowly, or quickly. Rain's your standard fighting guy, Engineer's your standard crafting guy, Scout's your standard jack-of-all-trades, Scion is your standard friggin' kill everything with his mind because he's overpowered as hell kind of character. Ranger's all about being fast. This guy's my favorite. He is just a completely idiotic tank. Like, his skills suck. His starting equipment's pretty alright, but in general, like, he's built to take damage and just sort of survive. He burns through food super quick. His extra starting armor doesn't really, like, help enough to generally make him viable in a lot of cases, but yeah. I don't know, this guy's my favorite because he's kind of funny. Kind of the dunce of the group. The Seeker is basically your glass cannon. Striker is your just absolute dedicated tech user. So they can mind control robots right off the start and things like that. Where is it? One of these drones. Where is it? Yeah, there it is, the Mother Egg. So with the Mother Egg, everybody else needs to take a turn. She can just instantly mind control all robots around as long as she has the batteries to do so. Shepard's kind of a crappy ads character. I've heard him referred to as the Scion, like the Diet Scion, more or less. Mercenary's like a more tanky fighter guy, but burns through food pretty quick. He's pretty good. Lich just is constantly dying and needs to kill stuff to stay alive, and then the medic is all about healing herself. So she's pretty good at cooking stuff and healing stuff, and actually comes with a unique pistol, which is the transfuser. Generally anything that gets shot by it heals her. And then this guy is a copy of the Marine, who has more of a food tank, as it were, and comes with a bit of extra stuff. He's just an extra character. He was in the base game. But yeah. So the point of this is to try to take this guy through seriously without any blue room stuff. So you start out outside of the pit. It's got 40 floors. Start off with what I consider to be the best setup in the game. But that, again, that's just personal preference. So just to show what's going on here. Armor-wise, he's got 40 that's just on him at all times. There's certain enemies that can hit him and take that armor off. But here's the thing. Any other worn armor has durability to it. Takes hits, takes some damage. With his, he just permanently has the equivalent of impact armor, which is sort of like a heavy Kevlar vest kind of thing. So he has that at all times. He can be really bulky if you give him any kind of armor. Not a lot of them fit him, but still. Starts off with an arm blade. Well, he has arm blades just on him. Have them right here. But yeah, starts off with just sort of like a spike on his arm. Starts off with this is my favorite gun in the game. You have to realize, this guy, he may be a vet or whatever else, but this weird bug thing is not that bright. But he kind of realized, you know what? He's going down here, looking through his weapons. Okay, blades. These these are basically scaled off of what you can assume as, 0 to 100, and then they can go past 100. So he's looking at the stuff like, okay, I can't use spears, I can't use blades too well. I mean, he's got the highest he can go, you know, just training on nothing, so theoretically he's never actually used it. Looking at his knife skill, like, you know what? That's not very good. My pistol skill's higher. I'm gonna slap my knife on my pistol, and then I can use my knife with my pistol skill, and that is exactly what he does. And that's exactly why this thing is friggin' amazing. So you can basically get what is the equivalent of one of the highest melee damage weapons in the game, but off of a super durable pistol. And for whatever reason, for him, they're more likely to drop. Actually, on most runs that I've done as him, I've gotten a second Krazen. It is really friggin' good. And then he starts off with a flamethrower, which is just kind of a good oh crap weapon. Starts out with a few grenades, everyone starts off with those. And yeah, that pistol, it's pretty much a magnum, uses high caliber rounds, so it also has a double shot on it. So it's pretty good. Doesn't start off with a whole lot of food though, but he does start off with oat mix, which seems like a strange thing to point out. But one of the highest healing foods he can get is a thing to shove worms into this muffin thing. And yeah, he can make those. He gets a lot of extra benefit from those. He fails a lot of skill checks though. So, like for example, foraging through this tree, he ended up failing it. Only had an 18%, while everybody else would have probably had 99 or so. And upon failing it, there's a chance to either find nothing or for something to fall out of that tree. Now, I don't want to waste too much movement here, because pretty much every time you move, you need more food. So there's nothing else really out here. Kill one enemy with this, just to get my pistol skill up. But for the sake of saving durability, I'm going to be using this arm blade for a while. Basically, I say basically way too much. I realize this. Actually, my wife makes fun of me for it all the time. But when it comes to this whole genre in general, you just kind of got to get used to, you know, controlling rooms and things like that. This first floor, you can't do much of that. You can just kind of back off into a corner and kill off the mobs as they come. On something like normal, there will only be like 4 or 5 of those things. You know, it's easy or whatever, you'd maybe find 2 or 3. But this is seriously. Everything is all over the dang place. I mean, this place is outright crawling with just all kinds of crap. The level cap for when different monsters can appear is much lower, which doesn't work like a lot of other RPGs would. It's not so much as like, oh, this bat is suddenly level 50, it can, you know, punch nukes out of its eyeballs. Instead, it's more like you have a constant mix that slowly starts leaning towards a more durable and more damaging collection of enemies. You'll always have the trash mobs around, and the types of, you know, rooms and the different situations you run into will kind of determine what enemies you see. Like if you find a security room or something, you'll see a whole bunch of robots stored there. Sorry, I had a little bit of a burp coming up there. That was awkward. Alright, so nothing really found there. Yeah, so like if you find a security room, you know you're gonna find robots in there, so you'd pop on some armor because they're gonna be shooting stuff, and not very efficient movement here, but whatever. Honestly, I don't like using the psi skills. It's one of the reasons I like this guy, because he just flat out can't learn them. I don't want to get all the way to level 3 before getting my stats, so I'll explain this part next. So, the way these work, you have 4 stat points, or you get 4 stat categories. Might is just how hard you hit things, and melee, how much stuff you can carry, partially affects your ability to resist diseases. Finesse is just how good you are with your fingers, brain is just how smart you are, computers and things like that, and then power is psionic stuff. That determines your overall psi pool and things like that. So his barely goes up. That 90, I think once maxed out it's like 140 or something. It barely goes up at all. I think I'm gonna start pushing him towards 50 finesse. Basically every increment of 10 that you get here, you get another increase towards whatever it actually says. So like you get small increases to your background stats when you use those, but then you partially get points to this as well. But then each of them has an added benefit. Like for example, every 10 of might, you get more carrying capacity. All right, now skills down here. These will essentially whenever you use a skill, if you used it successfully that level up, you will get a discount on it. So all these are 2 points. So anything psionic or anything that's been successfully used will have an extra point. Now, in most cases, it's better to just wait until you have this gray number to 45. That's the highest it can go, just kind of training on the air. Like, let's say you get a spear, you want to be good with spears, so you're just swinging the thing around, practicing with it. You can get that to 45 just swinging at the air. But yeah, so personally, I prefer to just get this up just with points and use as much as possible, because this thing's durability needs to last a very, very long time, and I will not be able to get his other skills up very effectively. So then I'll also put some into mechanical. I should explain, you get a drop of 1 to 3 for each point you put into one of these. You got 3 into mechanical that time. And then foraging, because foraging improves your loot chances. So yeah, this guy doesn't get many points to spend. Like for example, if this was the scout, she would get 1 for stats, but then 8 for skills. So this guy gets 2 for stats, 4 for skills. Doesn't really learn stuff very quickly. But he's durable. He's dumb and durable. That's his whole deal. Kind of identify with this guy. I'm not very good at a lot of things. And, well, last time I went to a martial arts tournament, I was told that I was clearly made for taking hits, so, Never knew. Alright, so that bigger bat over there might be a problem. They just have more health. So, the funny thing is, with stuff that has more health, it's not usually the thing that you're fighting that's the problem. And normally any other character, I'd probably just use a ranged weapon to take out anything, poisoned or diseased. With this guy, he's got decent might to start off with, so there's a good chance to resist those. So, might as well just keep plowing onward. Alright. Also, using a Corazon here, because of the far higher damage output than almost anybody else can do at this point, that also helps with his general survival. Alright, this might trigger an alarm. Yeah, it did. So, health is getting a little low, but there's not much of a point in resting with this guy until you find a bed. His natural resting rate is really slow. So, that enemy right there, there's a few different variants of it. Generally what they do, if you can ambush them like that, get a few hits off, they have a decent amount of health, but their whole deal is they run away, they throw some sort of grenade at you. Like, one of them, that kind in particular, will throw one that causes fear. Which basically means you can't take any actions except for run towards the nearest floor exit. You move faster than usual, but it pretty much completely disables you for a while. There's another variant that will set an entire room on fire. Not great. Now, as far as the room logic I mentioned earlier, so you can see right here, it doesn't say outright, but it does say up here that this is a storeroom. Now, in most cases, these will have pretty much anything. But it does seem unusual for that medical locker to be here. Okay, so I can interact with that. I can interact with that. Instantly dead. Actually, the mistake I made there, I should have ended the turn before taking a step, but, yeah, that kind of stuff. I'm not really sure what he says there. It sounds like I did what I would. I don't know. But I'll give this another go. Just wanted to show that off real quick. So, yeah. Generally speaking, kind of sucks when that happens. Alright. Now, when it says an item is damaged, by the way, that doesn't mean that it necessarily went down a point. In this case it did, but it might be like a 54.8 or something. You don't actually know how much it went down. Did go down by something. Nice thing also, because this thing slashes twice and only takes 1 durability damage for that, he can get his pistol skill up pretty quick for those first 10 points if needed. But that's just down to randomness. Yeah, that last run, I was honestly expecting at least for him to survive. That was pretty brutal for a start. I mean, those things can take you out pretty quickly. And starting health is pretty low, but that was pretty comical. I'll try to use this more. I get the skill up earlier. Oh. Jeez, little one, what are you doing? Oh, crap. Okay, that was a telekinetic fist going on there. So that's the kind of instant kill ability the Scions get. I say instant kill ability, it's pretty much an insta-kill for any of the small mobs, and then from there on, it's basically a high damage, low penetration ability. And that's another thing I should probably mention. So armor is kind of a weird thing in this. It's a little bit more, I guess you could say, realistic. In terms of if it can pierce whatever your armor actually is, then you'll, well, then you're basically taking full damage from the thing. But if it can't, you're usually taking pretty well reduced ones, and this can go down to like less than 1. But it all just varies. Generally speaking, though, firearms and things like that, you want to have armor for. You know, if you see a bear or something coming at you, you probably want that on. If you see a, you know, bat or something, it's really not going to matter much. But, anyhow, moving on. So, taking a lot more damage than ideal early on. Oh, hang on one sec here. Little one decided to go for adventures. Started trying to wander off away from her play area. Oh, okay, didn't mean to shoot there. Another nice thing about this, high caliber rounds are not as rare as you'd think from the sound of the name, especially for how less than often they're used. So generally speaking, with this guy especially, you're going to spend most of the time bum rushing straight into things. Yeah, there we go, there's a pistol skill drop. And there's no bar that fills up, it's just like, I think it's like a 4% chance per use. Something like that. Now, usually I play with the voices off. Just kind of put them on there for this time. Also, there's kind of a little trick to this. Since you can still use the Krazen in its current condition, or unloaded, I should say, and you can basically you can still use it as a melee weapon, but you can also use it as a gun. You can keep it unloaded, use it as a melee weapon. It only takes 1 turn to reload it. Like if you're low on ammo, you completely empty the clip, and the game automatically does an extra check So, there's kind of 3 checks when you're doing looting. First off is just what the game wants, you know, it to be in there. So it'll first do a skill check. If you pass the skill check, you'll get a random item from whatever can be in that particular container. The second one is a foraging check. If you pass that, you get a second drop, usually some kind of ammo or something. You get a second small drop that you just get from foraging. And then there's a third one that there's a chance drop, I think it's also partially based on foraging, for basically whatever weapons you have that are either low on ammo or empty. It'll see about, you know, giving you just an extra little drop of ammo there. So it's a trick that's used to kind of manipulate that a little bit. Alright, let's get 3 more for pistols. And this time, I'm gonna get 1 for lockpick. Because lockpick, between all of those, I would say lockpick and mechanical are the most useful. The computer I won't even bother with until I have spare points. If it actually gets that far. Personally, I don't see this run getting past 20. I typically don't. Now it's going to take a while to run to that other room, so I'm just going to leave it. Not really worthwhile. Alright. So this is the first encounter of a Protean. And here's what you do with Proteans. You friggin' burn them. You can screw that nonsense. Basically what Proteans are giant acid blobs. So they will, well, melt your stuff. And it just means anything, like you don't even have to be using it at the time. It just automatically does a check against everything in your inventory to melt stuff. Okay. There we go. Got that out. Kinda surprised both of those turned out well. Alright, now these guys, they heal themselves. They're basically like the Lich type of situation. But they heal themselves while stabbing you a bunch of times. I'd rather not get shanked. Bringing shanky skeletons. I'm probably going to start doing that trick with the Krazen once I get under 100 rounds. For now, I kind of just want to, you know, keep it as it is. I mean, health is still pretty low at this point. And I will be making use of that wormhole trap, though. Oh, cool. I managed to get exactly 1 word out of that. So when you go to a computer, you get a chance to get story bits or schematics or things like that. And, well, I mean, those are nice. Schematics just are extra crafting recipes. And Krazen for you. Alright. So those guys right there. They can go invisible. They can do their fear attack thing, which also has a chance of paralyzing you entirely. Alright. There we go. Alright, how about you piss off? Now, these guys are a little bit annoying. Because, let's say they show up, like here, with a box that, you know, with an ammo box in there. They will run around that room and just, at random, start shooting stuff. And if they do that, they blow up your stuff. So you can't actually go and loot that box. Alright. That went decently. Decent. So if there's points for these, I'll put them into these. Pistol, I'll save this time because I want to get more foraging. This guy really needs his foraging up. Now in this case, I haven't cleared out these side rooms. And I can't immediately see any enemies coming out of there. I'm just going to close the door. Each enemy that's around has a pretty much a detection radius. So you can kind of stealth it to some degree, especially if you're meleeing stuff a lot. And what I should have done there is actually hit the option to use the tool on that box. Make it 100%. Anything below 100% may as well be a fail. I mean, hell, I've seen stuff that's like 99% friggin' fail twice in a row. It just happens. Crap! Didn't mean to open that. Okay. That item you never want to pick up. That opens up every... Crap. Right, so that's what I was talking about, the fear bomb guys. So I'm better off just plain standing still than, you know, going through one of those trapdoors. Now, when it comes to trapdoors... Oh, you dick. This is why you want to get resistance up. But I won't be doing that because I can't spare the points. Annoying. Now, these doors do a random thing each time. So here's what I'm going to do. These are two things that I absolutely can't spare right now. Alright. So I figured out what that one does. That's the one that I was trying to find out. So, yeah, that one just destroys any random item in your inventory. And thankfully, in that case, it was just a scent gland. Doesn't matter too much. That rat might go all psychic on me in a second here. And I don't have the health to take one of those. There we go. Perfect. So, now that I found a bed, I'm just going to close these doors, take a quick nap to heal up. Now, you can rest anywhere and heal, and some classes heal a lot faster than others. But like right there, it just took a small tick off my health, or off my food bar. I want to say it was like 30 or 40, and healed up completely. So, when it comes to this guy, well, I guess I might as well have one of these. All these foods will have different effects, and, well, he's pretty strong as far as his might and resistance and all that go. They're pretty decent. You can get away with eating diseased food and things like that. So, like, if you find something like tainted meat, you have the option to go and purify it, if you have a purifier on hand. But that actually lowers its food rating. So it's kind of this kind of trade-off between which one do you want to risk. Should have guessed it. Well. Alright, so that was a dumb mistake. Don't believe I have any yeah, I do have a couple patches. This is why all characters come with a small insta-healing item. Most of these kinds of encounters are unlikely to kill you outright, in most cases. But when crap hits the fan, those don't take a turn. You can just slap them on, fix wounds as they are, and they let you get past these early parts in case you get dicked over. There we go. I'm used to the lock and unlock thing. Alright, so I don't know what this trap does, but I can go ahead and test the other ones because I already discovered the one that I'm scared of. So, first things first, I'm going to go over here, take a quick rest. Then after that, I'm going to go back and try to disarm that wormhole trap, which has almost no chance of success, and it more than likely will throw me a few levels down. Thing is, I can go back and re-explore those few levels. It'll be a slight waste of food there, you know, but I don't want to miss out on any potential items that could be found. Yeah, it's only a 9% chance of success. If I get it, though, I always try to get these because, well, it might just throw you down one floor into a decent spot. Like right here, ended up in a pretty quiet hallway. Looks like the corner of the map. Alright, got a couple things coming up. Alright, you just heal yourself. Alright, so I didn't terribly want to fight that thing, but oh well. Alright, so I've got to heal up so I can, you know, pretty much just use the sword on these guys. And when it comes to level up heal ups, as long as you hover your finger above the button, you're pretty much just fine. So it'll just instantly heal you whether it's your turn or not. Alright, so keep going for finesse there. One more for foraging. One more for mechanical. I guess I can do pistol now. And save a point for later. Possibly might put it into resistance. You can basically bank anything that you're thinking about putting into, that's not what I wanted to use at all. Thought I switched to my, pistol. But basically anything you're thinking about putting into psi stuff, you can basically bank. Because if you save up points, you only can put one per level. Actually, if you end up leveling up twice before using your level up, everything is expensive. But, point being, anything that's for psi, you might as well keep, because, well, it's just going to cost 1 point anyway. Now, these are for diseases. Alright. Yeah, I don't have anything to help with poison. Okay, dimness is gone, so I can keep exploring. It'll be constant damage, and that's a pain. Right. Come on. Good boy. Get you over here. Tell you to not be part of that fight. Crap. So if you hit F, it basically attacks your last thing, and I regularly make the mistake of just hitting F while moving. So in that case, it decided to shoot the bat instead of attacking the guy right next to me. Which I guess worked out fine. But anyway, I'm under 100 rounds, so I guess it's time to start swapping out stuff. Got a crowbar from that thing, very useful. It does a similar thing to the multi-tool, in which it helps with any mechanical skill checks. But it's unlimited, so that's nice. Now... How was I doing here? Oh yeah, so unload the Krazen, reload the Assault Flamer. So you can get knocked out of anything with a bar that is not reloading. Like if you're in the middle of opening a door, you can get knocked out of that by being attacked. If you're in the middle, let's say, of cooking something, you'll just end up losing your items. Ooh. Oh crap. Alright, don't need any more thief rats here. Right. That should be enough to survive it. Alright. Just get the circuits, leave the floor key. Oh, for crap's sake, what is this room? How about no? I even need anything. I really probably don't even need anything in this room. Oof. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. Pop another patch. Grab a grenade. And you, chumpos. And there we go. Was it ideal? God, no. But I can access the beds now. So traveling up and down floors is something you typically do a lot. They lock up every 5 floors. You kind of do get to the point of not being able to retreat. With this, I definitely won't be able to use that. I might be able to use... there's the sound of a blob. I hope it's just this guy. You can tell a lot of stuff by sound. Oh, there we go, got the healing door. Oh, screw you guys. Right, so, these things are bad. Here, I'm gonna lock the door. Because here's the scary thing. Every time that these are hit, they will send another one of those little green robot guys out in a group. So let's say you're in the middle of a fight and one of these comes up and you don't kill it instantly. You basically get, like, you're just fighting off a bunch of other stuff and suddenly you have to prioritize these little friggin' thief robots. Otherwise your stuff gets stolen, and there they are. Okay. Thing is, if they get a couple rooms away from you, those items are just destroyed. So it's not like it's just an annoying thing they have to chase them across the floor. They will... Oh. Okay. What the hell? I guess it teleported away the containers, too. That is irritating. Alright, so this is probably going to be side drain or something. Yeah. But good. I want to secure this room. And actually, I don't want to fight that spore thing in the other room. Means I didn't want to fire my gun there. That might have alerted him. Right, so it'll come back. That thing's gonna come back around some corner. They try to ambush you. Right, herbs, that's useful. Okay, now here's what we're gonna do. And turn here. Turn, close the door. Not open that. Nope, no, back out. Because it didn't ask me to use all my tools. So I was starting to starve. Definitely need this fixed. Wait, I can't actually make anything right now, can I? Alright, well, either way. If I can make some of this, it's likely to fail. Yes, he hates all this complicated fiddling. Alright, let's have some oat mix. Refill the tank a little bit. We approach it from the other corner. I think... I just want to take a quick peek in there. Yeah, there's no containers. I'm not even going in there. We got aggroed slightly, but just gonna run away. Gonna try to open up these two while he's still approaching. Oh crap, he opened the door and I'm screwed. Don't do it. Ah, got spores. Alright. These things suck because they hit you a bunch of times each turn. And I'm pretty sure I'm dead no matter what now. Okay, that just did food. Yeah, I'm thinking of the other cheese that heals. Yeah, I think that's Rip Run right there. Unless this kills him. Nope. Didn't even get to throw it. The damage ticks before I can throw it. Oh well. So there you go. That didn't exactly go so hot, but that's typically how it goes in the pit.